my video on? Yeah, hello.
Yes, Pradeep.
Yeah. So hi everyone. Hi Vinay. Hi Randy. Hi Vijaya. I'm Pradeep. So I will give some brief about myself. Then further we'll start with the session, today's session. So I'm Pradeep. I'm from Mumbai. I'm having around 8 years of experience into the IT field. So overall 8 years of experience. From that, in 6 years into the cloud and DevOps, and I do have experience in the Linux and networking part as well. About my career and the roles and responsibility, I'm day to day working with. I'm currently engaged with one of the OTT platform, so which is a very reputed OTT platform. I'm working on that platform, and we are using the AWS cloud and the DevOps tools to handle day to day activities. So I'm engineering graduate from Pune University. I have completed my engineering in 2015. Apart from that, I do have experience in the Terraform, in Kubernetes, Docker, is container and orchestration tools. Yeah, that's it. That is the brief from my side. Yeah. So, do you have any question? Otherwise, we can start with the very first session to the AWS.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Randy. Yeah. So we'll start. From the very basic level. We are considering that. So if the candidates are new to the industry, then how they can approach to the AWS. So why AWS and why there is a no private cloud? So first of all, we'll go step by step. So uh, what is the difference between the private and public cloud? Why we are using the public clouds and what are all the advantages if we are going with the public clouds? So yeah, so I'm going to share my screen. So basically, I have the 1 second. I have prepared some documentation for today's session, so I'm going to share with you that. So let me give. Yeah, so I'm sharing my screen. Sorry for the delay.
One question. I'm from the Java background, so for this, what is the prerequisite for this course?
Prerequisite, right?
Mhm.
Hello.
Yeah, what's the prerequisite for this course?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, when you are starting with the AWS, so the prerequisite of this course is basically you should have some understanding of the from the computer background. So we are using various websites, we are using various applications. So that application is basically hosted somewhere. Okay, we need to know that there are the some platform which is at the backend, is running at the backend, and which all that platform is handling our services. So the prerequisites, I can say, we should have some understanding of the servers, what servers, how servers are working, how networking works on the servers. So how the connectivity is getting established between the servers. We should have some basic understanding of the networking as well. So in that case, we can understand, we can relate that. So whatever the servers or whatever the services from the AWS or any cloud, Azure cloud or Google GCP cloud we are going to use, so how they are going to work. So these are the some prerequisite which I told, so that everyone should have before this. Before starting to the AWS course, I can recommend it everyone so they can start from the Linux side. So if you have the idea of the Linux, then it is very easy to understand you the cloud as well. So I'm not saying the Linux and AWS is having the any I mean the relation, but when you are comfortable with the Linux, any of the operating system, Linux operating system or Windows operating system, day-to-day basis we are using the Windows, Mac OS or Linux operating system. So person should have that much of understanding, so how OS works and how we are going to work on that. So these are the some another third prerequisite when you are going to the AWS. Apart from that, I'm starting from the zero. So I will going to explain why, in the market, the cloud is in boom. Why, the people's, everyone is trying to go onto the cloud. Okay. There are the private cloud as well. There are some advantages of the private cloud. There are some advantage of the public cloud as well. There are some disadvantage as well for the private cloud, and there are some disadvantage of the public cloud as well. So that I'm going to discuss here. Okay. So at very first point, so if you have that 3 to 4 prerequisites, and you are aware of that, and AWS is very easy to understand. Okay. So the AWS, if you want to go through the AWS, and you should have the understanding of the AWS, you can learn and you can understand the things very quickly. It's not very tough, but there are the concepts, there are the some the nomenclature related to the AWS, the things how the the cloud is working at the back end, because we don't have the picture of what we are seeing. Okay, we don't have the background what is happening at the back end. So we, first of all, we should have that understanding. After that, we can uh, understood the things. So AWS is very easy. We can, if freshers also can start with this course. So that's why I'm starting from the day zero. So the very first content of my today's topics are the introduction to the AWS. What is the AWS and what is the private cloud? So in private cloud, so I'm starting with the the actual session now. So in the private clouds, we are having various private providers like VMware. We are having the VMware is a private cloud provider. Oracle. Some are the having the own data centers. So in the data centers, there are physical servers, physical machines, physical storage devices, physical networking devices, physical load balancer devices are there. So that devices we can use for our purpose. But the thing is that the manageability and accessibility of those devices are very, you have to first of all own your own data center, or you have to take it on rent. Okay, there should be any there should not be any chances of power loss or electricity loss. There will be the temperature should be maintained. If the temperature is not maintained, then your devices, hardware devices, can hit, and they, the devices can get damaged. So these are the some, the disadvantage in the private cloud. So that's why the publics are moving to the public cloud. So the private cloud, as I said, VMware is one of the top provider. So let's say I'm having one company, and that company, so let's say I'm operating one we'll take the one example of bank. So why the another advantage of the private cloud is that it's very secure, very secure. So there will be a 99.99% of chances, so there will be a DDoS attack. Okay, there can be a chances of the DDoS attack, but everything is inside the VPN, everything within the VPN. So whatever the network architecture we are having, so all the control we are having using the private cloud. So as I discussed, so let's say we are having one example of the bank. So bank transaction are very critical. So that data should never go beyond the outside the cloud, the data center. So that's why they are using the private cloud. So let's say we'll take one example of the private cloud. As I said, VMware. So the VMware will require the some set of servers, some set of networking devices, some set of load balancer to handle the traffic, some set of the connectivity between the storage and to the servers. So this type of the requirements are there in the private cloud. So apart
Private cloud
from
is
that,
not connected to the internet.
sorry.
The private cloud is not connected to the internet.
Yeah. So the private cloud is also connected to the internet, and public cloud is also, yeah, it's on internet only. So, but somewhere, sorry, give me a second. But somewhere, let's say you are having the private cloud, but every component of the private cloud is not connected to the internet. Let's say we are having some expose URL on the internet, which, let's say, some are the website, some are the applications which are hosted on the mobile application or OS application. So that endpoints only require the internet. So there is one ISP provider will come into the picture. That there is again separate connectivity. As I told you, there is a network devices involved in this. So the network device will have the ISP connectivity connected to that, and again that control, the routing of that network devices, the control we will have with the private cloud. Okay, that is the one advantage we are having. In case of the public cloud, so I given you the one advantage and disadvantage of the private cloud. The manageability is very critical. In case of the private cloud, we have to handle everything, the patching, the firmware upgradation of the servers. If there is any in case of the network down, then we have to perform the switchover activity, whether it will be automatic one, but yeah, again we have to responsible for that. Now I will go to the public cloud. So what is the advantage of the public cloud? So public cloud is available for all. First of all, as the name it suggests, is available for all, and it acts on the internet. Without internet, we cannot use the public cloud. So that is the main requirement and prerequisite of the public cloud. So let's say we are having public cloud as a AWS. So in AWS, we are getting everything as a services. We have to pay this for the services which we are going to use. So there are some services related to the compute services, database services. There are around more than 200 services available with the AWS. So we have to use that services. We just have to pay to that services on demand. So as per our requirement, we have to pay. So that is the main advantage. Another advantage with that, we don't have to take any office or any data center on rent. We just have to uh, we just have to create the account. We just have we just have the some understanding of that services. We just need to create the resource and launch our application on top of that cloud. So that is the advantage of cloud, and because of that, cloud is in boom. So let's say in the public cloud, the the I told you the advantages, but the another there, if there is a advantage, there are some disadvantage as well. Pros and cons is applicable, each of the cloud.
Can you please
So
give an example when you use go for the private cloud and the public cloud, which
mhm.
scenario?
Yeah, sure. So let's say the example when we go for the private cloud and when we go for the public cloud. So I given one example of the bank. The bank transaction are very critical. The the daily transaction happening on the UPI transaction or NEFT transaction in lakhs, in crores. We are doing the transaction. So that transactions are very critical and it should be a very secure. So that is the one example. You cannot see that any of the private sector bank or public sector bank, for their internal operations, I'm talking about the internal operation, for the transaction which we are doing, for the for the NEFT we are doing, they never use the public cloud. They don't have the trust. We cannot say the trust, but they don't have the access to the backend. So whatever the data which are going to store, they will not sure. We are having the various regions, we are having the various availability zone inside the region, but we don't know where exactly it's located, and we will never get that data physically. So everything is accessible on the internet itself. So this is the one example of the private cloud. Now another example of the public clouds. I'm not saying that banks are never using the public clouds. Banks are using, but the another example, they are, let's say there is some branding. So there is a credit card, they want to display some credit card information. There is some the campaign is going on, and they want to do some advertisement. So in that case, yeah, that is fine. There is nothing related to the transaction. There is nothing related to the money. So that in that case, banks also can use the public cloud. Okay. The security wise, we can achieve the security in the public cloud as well, but you should have the understanding of how we can achieve that security. If we are not sure about, we just hosted the website, we just created the server, and we just keep open for everyone, there can be a chances of compromising of that server. So there is a huge risk is involved without knowledge. So we should have the knowledge how we can you know mitigate that, and after that we can use the public cloud. So these are the two example of the same domain I have given you. Apart from that, in the public cloud there are the multiple uh, you know uh, the applications are running. So I will give the example of the Netflix. I will give the example of Amazon cloud, Amazon OTT platform. The another one is the various websites which are currently running. So these are the running on the. So I'm here the screen of the GitHub. So it's it's again the cloud. So it's hosted on the cloud. So there the peoples are using the cloud with the security. So there are the some the advantages and disadvantages which I discuss related to the private and public cloud. So do you have any other questions related to the public and private clouds? I can elaborate more.
Yeah, the security part. So
Yeah,
AWS is providing the security, or we have to secure our cloud.
right. Correct. Yeah. So exactly. So AWS is providing the security, but we have to use that. We have to manage that security. So I will give one example, very short example. Let's say we are having, uh, we are having the laptop in our home. So we know that if we keep the password to that laptop, then we can only use that password. No one can break that password until and unless who is very expert and who is having the in-depth knowledge of the to crash the kernel, and out of that change some configuration, and do that. And if so, what is there are the recommendations. So again, if we have the laptop and we have to set the password for the security purpose, that is a very common scenario. But if you are not keeping the password to our laptop, so everyone can directly can take that laptop and use that laptop. So like that only, AWS is having the various security features. We have to use that. AWS will not allow or disallow you to use that services. Means, let's say you have created one server and you have kept the 22 port, which is a SSH port, to open to everyone. So what will happen? There are the hackers are sitting, they are just continuously, they are using some phishing scripts, they are continuously trying to hit our server. If that server port got open, it's available open, so they can easily crack to our system. So that is the the security thing which we have to manage. AWS are providing, there are some paid services as well. Okay, we'll go this in brief to that services later on once we are move one by one to the various services. But yeah, so your question answer is there are the services available, but we have to use that with our knowledge.
Thank you.
Apart from that, is there any doubt?
We are good at this moment.
Okay. Mm, so is someone is again going to join, or we have to keep continue?
So actually, we are expected to few guys who are interested. Like we maybe we shared the theme, like
Mm-hmm.
your theme. Not yet joined. I don't know. Maybe the people who joined like facing the same problem, like page not found, or what is the trouble, login trouble. We are not sure that. Uh, yeah. Just give me a second. Huh?
Okay, sure.